Welcome to Unit 4, Section 2, Parenting Roles, Responsibilities, and Styles. Okay, after studying this lesson, you should be able to explain parents' roles and responsibilities involving nurturance, socialization, guidance, and discipline, differentiate between the terms guidance and discipline, describe the three types of discipline and their effects on children, and then compare and contrast the following parenting styles: authoritarian, permissive, overparenting, and authoritative. Parents are responsible for the well-being of their children. Parents' roles and responsibilities mainly involve nurturance, socialization, and guidance and discipline. Children thrive in a nurturing environment. They learn to become responsible members of a community through socialization by their parents and other members of their family. Through their parents' guidance and discipline, children learn right from wrong. Nurturance, in a very narrow sense, includes the physical aspects of childcare such as feeding, dressing, and bathing children. In a broader sense, it includes meeting intellectual needs such as providing children with a stimulating environment. Nurturance also includes meeting social-emotional needs such as helping children feel secure and loved. Physical care, love, and concern are important for children's healthy growth. Both mothers and fathers play an important role in nurturing their children. As far as socialization goes, people are born into a community. From the beginning, people experience their world as one of relationships. Learning to form relationships is a key social need. Children need to form strong relationships with their parents. These relationships can help children feel secure and teach them how to respond and relate to other people. Children also need a sense of belonging. To build this sense, parents help socialize their children or train them to live as part of the larger social group. Parents teach children about the way of life within the group. Each social group may have its own language, beliefs, attitudes, values, rituals, and skills that children learn through a process called socialization. Socialization is a major role of parents, for it allows children to fit into their social group. Another name for a social group is culture. From birth onward, children grow up in a culture, or sometimes cultures, that mold their belonging to the group. Using the parts of a person's culture to socialize is called enculturation. Parents, family members, schools, religious groups, and others influence children's enculturation. Parents model, reward, and praise what their culture values. They criticize and correct that which does not fit into their cultural beliefs. In the socialization process, children learn most of their culture's values at home. These concepts are also taught indirectly by living within the culture. Some cultural concepts, such as history and heroes, are taught more directly. The reasons behind traditions of the culture are also often taught to children from an early age. Parents and other older family members may help give or share values to children through storytelling and answering children's questions about the culture or its practices. Parents also teach their children how to respond in a culturally diverse society. Parents who value diversity point out the benefit of learning from people who are not like themselves. These parents teach their children to appreciate people of all cultures. They believe each group is different from but equal to other groups. Parents who do not value diversity often believe their group is better than others and that people of different groups should not interact with one another. Whatever their viewpoints, parents are passing these views on to their children. As far as guidance and discipline go, child guidance and discipline are important responsibilities of parenthood. Parents guide their children in their daily interactions with them. Guidance includes the words and actions parents use to influence their children's behavior. For example, when parents face frustrations but react calmly, they guide their children to do the same. By showing children they are not upset when they do not get their way, parents are modeling good behavior. Guiding children in a positive way is an important parental role. Discipline is part of guidance. Discipline is the use of methods and techniques to teach children self-control. Through discipline, children learn to act in ways that society finds acceptable. Punishment is not the same as discipline. Punishment is a consequence for a misdeed. For punishment to be effective, the negative consequences must fit the misdeed. One major goal of guidance and discipline is to build character in children. Character is the principles and beliefs that guide a person's conduct, which is their actions and their manners, and define their personality and behavior. Through love and guidance, parents help their children grow into self-directed adults. Most parents would like to find the perfect method for handling their children's unpleasant or disruptive behaviors. Although there is no perfect method for use with every child, some forms of discipline are much better than others. In choosing a method, parents need to remember that the goal is to teach children self-control, not just take care of the immediate behavior. This is important because parents will not always be able to guide children, especially as they become older. Studies will report that parents use 3 types of discipline: power assertion, love withdrawal, and induction. Alright, the first type of discipline used is power assertion, which occurs when parents use or threaten to use some form of physical punishment, which we also call corporal punishment, or deny children privileges. Although many parents use these methods, there are some negative long-term effects of power assertion. Certainly, many people can name children who were occasionally spanked and are now happy, healthy adults. You may think to yourself, hey, I was spanked and I'm fine. Okay? Some adults even claim spankings were good for them. You may think so too. If this is true, then why are most parenting experts against power assertive techniques? Okay, love withdrawal is a discipline technique where parents threaten children with being unloved or suggest some form of parent-child separation. An example is parents telling children they do not want or love them. Some parents even tell their children they are going to give them away. Other forms of love withdrawal include ignoring the child or giving the child the silent treatment. Experts consider love withdrawal to be an emotional abuse. Love withdrawal creates stress and prevents the expression of feelings. Lastly, induction, the third technique, parents discipline their children by reasoning and explaining to them why they should or should not use certain behaviors. This involves several different techniques and is individualized to a child's age. Children disciplined by this technique tend to show better self-control, display more concern for others, and take responsibility for their own failures. Okay, so some tips. First of all, keep control as an adult. These are tips for using induction. So stay calm, deal with your issues quickly but not impulsively, seek help if it becomes too difficult to remain calm. Okay, a technique is to maintain realistic expectations and making decisions about what are and what are not acceptable behaviors. So consider your child's age and stage, their temperament, and any special problems. Try to prevent situations that lead to misbehaviors like child-proofing and avoiding hunger and sleep deprivation and overstimulating your child, and then that will make it so they're not misbehaving as much. Be a positive model to your child, so avoid doing or saying anything you would not want your child to do. Avoid media that shows aggressive act. Choose books and media that have positive images. Use positive words with children. Show respect when speaking to them. Make the child environment a yes, yes, no one rather than a no, no, yes one. So don't use no use no only if it's for safety reasons. And that makes it for a more positive environment. With older children, stick to one issue at a time rather than bringing up all issues. And know that it's fine to say, I'm sorry to a child. Okay. Provide structure and consistency in your environment. Make the environment physically suitable for a child. For example, children will try unsafe ways to reach items beyond their floor reach. Within reach, storage allows children to keep their areas neat. Have a routine that lessens stress for both children and adults, and explain any changes in routine and even rehearse your new expectations. Okay? And then distract and redirect infants and young toddlers. So remove children from unsafe situation and involve the child immediately in a new activity that you want them to do. So just distract them. Also, set limits and reinforce them. So state rules in positive words, make statements simple for young children, give options when possible. Use problem-solving techniques with older children. So use the 6 steps in the problem-solving process. Evaluate the effectiveness of the solution they select. Use your punishment with care. Help the child see punishment as a result of his or her willful misbehavior. Choose a punishment that fits the misbehavior. For toddlers and preschoolers, a timeout often works for a temper outburst or aggression towards others. Natural consequences teach children that their actions have consequences. And then logical consequences, which are adult planned consequences to show a direct link between misbehavior and consequences, like having to park a tricycle if riding limits are disobeyed, also teach children results of a specific misbehavior. Lastly, encourage and support your children's efforts. Use verbal encouragement rather than material rewards. Tell children what behavior was acceptable, such as your room looks nice when you put away your belongings. Encourage younger children by helping them with the tasks, such as putting away toys. Ask older children if they can use a helping hand. Power assertive techniques are often used when parents are angry. If parents are likely to lose their tempers, their intended light physical punishment could become abusive if they do it in anger. For this reason, corporal punishment is illegal in child care programs and some other settings. Power assertion is based on making a child feel fearful of the larger and louder adult. As the child grows physically, however, fear lessens and the technique will no longer work. Power assertion involves the fear of being caught and punished. Many power-assertive adults will threaten, "Don't let me catch you doing that again." Thus, the child weighs the chances of being caught and the likely punishment. The child is not being guided by doing what is right versus wrong. When a child is physically aggressive toward another child, such as hitting them, corporal punishment seems like a double standard. The child may think, you are hitting me, why can't I hit others? This is a good example of the punishment not fitting the misdeed. Then discipline techniques are imitated or modeled by children. Children disciplined through power assertiveness are more apt to use these methods in their own relationships. If they see their parents lose control, children may become violent during the teen years or abusive to their own spouses or children as adults. So I just gave you some examples of induction techniques. So I want you to think about how it might be used in a real life situation, how you would use one of them. Okay, most parents want to raise their children to become responsible, well-mannered adults. As children enter the toddler years, parents must begin using guidance and discipline. Within a year or two, parents develop a parenting style, which is their overall way of socializing children. The parent's own childhood experiences, beliefs, and temperament, as well as the temperament of the child, influence which parenting style they use. Parenting styles are classified as authoritarian, permissive, overparenting, and authoritative. Okay. Some parents use an authoritarian parenting style in which the main objective is to make children completely obedient. These parents think obedience is the most important behavior their children should learn. They expect their children to respect their authority with little or no explanation as to why children should obey. Authoritarian parents most often use power assertion as their discipline technique. Although these children often obey their parents, they do not understand why they should act as their parents wish. Beyond not developing self-control, power assertion can lead to unhealthy long-term behaviors. So some possible results of kids who are parented with authoritarian is that they might be moody, unhappy, they could be aggressive, including violence or passive aggressiveness. They could be not friendly, they're vulnerable to stress, and they have trouble getting along with those in authority. Okay. Permissive parents is a parenting style who give children almost no guidelines or rules. They feel children should make their own decisions about right and wrong. They may think setting limits for their children will make their children feel unhappy or unloved. Sometimes permissive parents become overindulgent, which means they provide everything the child wants. The truth is, without guidelines, these children may feel lost. Permissive parenting can also give children the impression parents do not care enough to guide and teach them, or that they are trying to buy their love. Permissiveness can result in unhealthy long-term behaviors. So some possible results of children who are parented with permissive parenting is they will not be self-controlled, they will not be self-reliant, they will be impulsive, they can be aggressive, they can be rebellious, and they often have low achievement. Okay? Overparenting is a parenting style in which the parents' desire to provide for and protect their children is beyond what is in the best interest of children. Overparenting can be defined as parenting by controlling every move of the child. Overparenting often begins in infancy and becomes apparent from the toddler years through the teen and even young adult years. Some common characteristics of overparenting include hiring tutors beginning the toddler or preschool years, doing their children's projects for them, resolving children's conflicts with adults and peers without allowing children to try to resolve conflicts on their own, discouraging their children from independent explorations by manufacturing almost every experience for their children, contacting all adults who provide services for their children, like teachers, coaches, youth directors, constantly without a break, and then supervising their activities, and then attending job interviews with their children and negotiating for them. Although many of these parents have good intentions, the results may not be positive for their children. These children may be more self-centered and have an exaggerated sense of entitlement. Okay, that means they believe they have a right to particular privileges or benefits. They may also have more difficulty developing their own coping skills. So some more possible results of overparenting include high perfectionistic strivings, but they're not willing to take risks. They lack leadership traits. They have unrealistic achievement goals. They lack emotional self-regulation and psychological resilience to handle typical problems on the road to adulthood. They often don't achieve, but believe that they are entitled to get what they want. They may stay dependent on parents even as young adults. We call this the boomerang generation, which means they will move back in with their parents as adults, not for economic reasons, but because they want their parents to keep taking care of them. Okay, and lastly, authoritative. Many parents find a compromise between authoritarian and permissive styles, and this is called authoritative. We also call it assertive democratic style. Parents set some rules but allow children some freedom. Parents who typically use an authoritative parenting style also use the induction method of discipline. Their children learn self-discipline in a positive, encouraging setting. Parenting experts support the authoritative parenting style as healthiest for children and families. The long-term results for children are most positive. Children who are parented by authoritative parenting styles will often end up self-reliant, self-controlled, curious, able to handle stress, engage in fewer risk-taking behaviors, and have good morals and character. All right, so on ending this, I want you guys to think about, how does your culture impact the parenting style that you grow up with? Do you see your culture represented in examples of the parenting styles in the text? Do you think that the parenting style you were raised with is because of your culture? Why or why not? And that is the end of Unit 4, Section 2. Thanks, guys.